Okay, I wanted to take some time to go over your project. So this project will be due after fall break, and it is based on the notes for 2.7 in geometry. And here are the different parts to it. So first, we want you to write a description of parallel lines. We want you to include 2 examples in the real world. So think about your everyday life. Where do you see parallel lines? And remember, parallel lines are lines that never intersect, so make sure you write a description there. Feel free to use your notes, and then give 2 examples of parallel lines in the real world. Write a brief description of a transversal. So again, go back and remember, what is a transversal? What does a transversal do? And include 2 examples in the real world that are transversals. So where do you see transversals? Where do you see lines intersecting other lines? And then name the 5 types of angles, 5 different types of angles that are created when 2 or more parallel lines are cut by a transversal. So again, go back to your notes, look at the 5 angles that could possibly be created when we have parallel lines cut by a transversal. Okay, and here is your actual project, what you're going to turn in. So you are the designer of your own city. You will demonstrate your knowledge of parallel lines with a transversal and your knowledge of angle pairs formed by their intersections. You must include all of the following details to receive full credit. Your city must have a name placed at the top of your project. Please make sure that this name is school appropriate. We would hate to take off points or even not accept the project if you have an inappropriate city name. Make sure you have 2 parallel streets, and these streets are going to be labeled. So it can be like Butch Cassidy Way, like we have for Galena, or whatever your street name is. You're going to have 2 parallel lines, and they're going to be named. 2 non-perpendicular lines. So remember, perpendicular means it makes a 90-degree angle. So we want to make sure that these lines are not created 90-degree angles. Transversal streets, which intersect all 2 parallel lines, but not parallel to each other. So that means that these are just lines that are crossing the other 2 parallel lines, but don't make them perpendicular. So I don't want to see like a boxy city like this. Not what we want, okay? 1 perpendicular line, which intersects all 2 parallel lines. So I do want 1 perpendicular line, but then we also want 2 others that are not perpendicular. So you have a total of 5 streets at this point. 2 parallel lines, 2 non-perpendicular lines, and only 1 perpendicular line. And then we want some traffic lights or stop signs. So at 3 different intersections. So obviously streets are going to be intersecting each other, and we want you to include either traffic lights or stop signs at 3 of those intersections. Okay, then we want your city to have some buildings. Obviously, it's not just going to be streets. So you need to find 8 buildings of your choice. This can be a gas station, your home, school, library, McDonald's, fire department, Rayleigh's, Starbucks, whatever you want. Again, as long as it's appropriate. We don't want any inappropriate buildings in our cities. So you're going to go through and you're going to name your city or your buildings. So you're going to go like, oh, I want McDonald's. And I want Galena, and whatever else you want. Pick 8 different things, okay? Your favorite buildings in the city. Then you're going to use these buildings and you're going to put them in the city, but we want them to be in a very particular order. So the city can be based on your neighborhood if you want, a neighborhood from a TV show, or one that you totally create. Like, it doesn't have to be real, okay? You should color. This can be in marker, crayon, colored pencil. We are going to provide some coloring supplies for you in person. So if you don't have access to those at home, go ahead and at least do like most of your projects so that when we see you again, you're able to just kind of fill in and color anything else that you need. But it should be like 90% done. If all you have is no color at home, we will arrange for that when you come back. You should use construction or graph paper to present your map, or you could create your city using computer or print paper. It can't be bigger than 8.5 by 11. So 8.5 by 11 is a regular piece of paper, kind of like the packet we gave you. So that big. It doesn't have to be crazy big. It's just a piece of paper. So we're hoping that you have access to some printer paper at home. You send us an email if you're having trouble with that, but just 8.5 by 11, nothing crazy there. Please be creative and artistic as you would like. This is supposed to be fun, so take your time, be creative, and have fun with it for sure. So here's the big thing. Your buildings, you can't just be like, oh, I want McDonald's here and I want my school here, like randomly. The purpose of this project is to see if you understand how to use these angles. So we're going to be very specific grading this. So whatever you labeled as building 1 and 2, so for me it's McDonald's and Galena, if you labeled that as 1 and 2, you have to make sure that in your picture, okay, whatever your map looks like, that they are alternate exterior angles. So like McDonald's and Galena would be here because that would be alternate exterior. Okay, so we are going to be grading where exactly these buildings are. Same thing with 3 and 4 will be consecutive interior, 5 and 6 are vertical, 7 and 8 are corresponding. So make sure you're going back to your notes and you are checking to make sure that you are drawing those correctly and label them so that we are able to grade it. And here's how we will be grading this. So part 1 was you describing real life examples and what they mean. So that's 16 points. And then the big chunk is the actual project that you'll be turning in. You're going to turn in both your description and your picture. But most of the points come from where you put your buildings and making sure that you follow directions there. So you need 5 streets total that are labeled. Remember, 3 traffic lights or stop signs. The buildings that are appropriate locations, this is the biggest chunk. So again, making sure that like buildings 1 and 2, for example, were alternate exterior. Color and city title, 5 points. Should be easy 5 points there to just color and give me a title. 2 parallel lines, 5 points each. 2 non-perpendicular transversals, 4 points each. And 1 perpendicular transversal is 2 points. So this is going to be a test grade in the gradebook. Please let us know if you have any questions, and happy